Man, I'm super pumped with what we रस निकल गई सब क्या सी निकल
अरे यार
Welcome back to Building an Indian D2C Brand, a documentary series that takes you through the journey of building a homegrown Indian brand from start to finish. We are SimplePlan Media, a branding and web design consultancy based right here in New Delhi, India. In the previous episodes, we finalized the art direction, the logo, and the final packaging for our new D2C brand, Sharmeeli. If you would like to catch up on how we got here, click the I button on your screen or check out the links in the description below.
Now that the identity is locked in, the packaging is fully approved, we have a very good brand story in place. Now the real journey start. All this theory that we have done until now, it's time to make it real.
In this next phase, we'll cover everything related to production. So we've started scouting locations, collating references, designing visual boards, and aligning our team members around it. One of the biggest challenge that brands face with production is the budget.
Yeah, because like with production and marketing, these are like two things where there is no capping in the amount that you can spend. You can have like very big production sets to very small scale production sets. So it's very important for us to keep the budgets always in check.
Right. And initially, our core focus is on building all the assets that would drive up sales, UGC content, social proof content, and content for ads. So this is initially what we'll be focusing on.
And plus, like we are a D2C brand. We don't have a physical store or a storefront where people can actually go and visit and check out our clothes. So the content that we produce along with the website that we'll have will be the actual storefront for us. So we'll need to produce content on a very regular basis so that we get eyeballs and people know about our brand.
Right, but one thing we need to keep in mind is that we've also started building the website in parallel. So we need to wrap this up as quickly as we can so that our development process doesn't suffer because of the lack of visual assets.
Yeah, we'll need the product photography, some videos, some landscape images. All of that content needs to be collated right now so that the development work never stops. It has to run linearly.
One thing that we tell our clients is to prioritize speed over perfection, because again, our job is to create content as fast as we can and refine our processes as we move forward.
So we have to keep things as lean as possible and as cyclic as possible. That would be our priority.
In a lean D2C setup, content production isn't just about shooting pretty stuff. It's about building solid systems that can scale. Our content production system is divided into 3 phases: pre-production, shooting, and post-production. Pre-production is all about planning. This is where we finalize the location, set list, mood boards, props, so everything that you can think of. Next comes the actual shooting day, and this is all about execution. With good planning, we are able to capture assets for the website, social media, and ads all in one go with just slight changes of angles and frames. And lastly comes the post-production bit, where all the magic happens. So editing, adding audio, and making sure that the raw clips are turned into something that looks and feels like a brand. When all these things work together in sync, you're able to produce content that is fast, clean, and aligned with the brand. Without it, you'll end up putting out fires all the time.
With the brand identity in place and the packaging ready, it's time for Sharmeeli to show up where it matters most, on screens. From website assets to social media visuals, the building blocks of how the brand comes alive online. Leading this phase is Shankuk, the creative marketing lead at SimplePlan, and it's time for him to enter the process and make sure that the brand vision is communicated well through our static and video content pieces.
I'm good. We generally start our process by reverse engineering stuff. We take requirements from the dev team and the brand team. उसके basis पे we get a fair idea as to what sort of content buckets do we have to create. Based on that, we divide it into broadly 2 categories: horizontal content and vertical content. इसके basis पे we get a fair idea as to what sort of shortlist needs to be created. कि vertical content में कितना volume चाहिए and horizontal content में कितना volume चाहिए. At this point, I sort of have a discussion with Malhar as well. उससे we get a fair understanding of what the edit would look like, and based on which I sort of create the shortlist with the angles and everything. And based on the angles, we get a fair understanding of what sort of lenses and what sort of camera equipments would be required. One bonus step for the first shoots is that always keep extra coverage. We try and record everything in and around the shoot. That could be models prepping up, that could be the crew getting ready for the shoot, that could be the camera guy sort of setting up his tripod. All of it just helps us in creating a more human feel to do anything and experiment a lot in post. Instead of starting from the top and drilling down, we'll try and reverse engineer stuff, and then we achieve at the final shoot manual.
Before the shoot begins, there's one more perspective that shapes how content is planned: the editors. Because editing doesn't just happen after the shoot, it starts before, in how you frame, how you pace, and how you shoot for the final cut. At the center of that process is Malhar, senior editor at SimplePlan Media. In this segment, he breaks down how the editing process brings clarity to chaos and how Sharmeeli's visual language is sharpened in the post.
So it is important that the production and post-production team is in alignment with what kind of output we need to deliver, and especially what kind of requirements are there from both sides. According to the brief that I got, the two words that stood out to me were bold and unapologetic. This instantly reminded me of the 2000s era, and you can't think of the 2000s era without mentioning the music and the movies from that time. Based on this, I started looking for inspirations. Inspirations from eye candy, which is basically Pinterest but for movies and videos. And one particular brand stood out to me, and I resonated heavily with that editing style, and it was MTV. See, the MTV in the 90s had a particular brand tone, which I thought worked perfectly for Sharmeeli. It had jarring zoom-ins, over-the-top colors, grainy footage, and of course, the rebellious music. Once I prepared a visual vibe for the brand, I get in touch with Shankuk to make sure that the production process and the post-production process are in alignment. And then finally, we proceed to the final buying list, which basically is a list of gear and equipment that we'll need for the shoot. And of course, after that, it's the shoot manual. The shoot manual is the who, what and how. This answers who is responsible for what tasks on the set, because it's already super chaotic on the shoot day. It also answers what we'll be shooting, the way each product has to be shot, and how answers how we'll be shooting those products. It has to be consistent. Every product has different colors, but we can't change the light setup for every single product as we are on a tight deadline. We can't create custom shots for every single product. So the lighting has to be consistent throughout the process.
So the shoot manual also defines how the shoot will flow chronologically. This helps us identify that we don't miss out on anything during the shoot. So once the shortlist has been sorted, we get to the exciting part, which is buying stuff, which includes the cameras, the lighting, the backdrops, everything in and around the shooting experience, could be the props as well. For a lean production setup, it's important to sort of match the client expectations while being very efficient with money, right? The primary camera that we'd be going with is Sony Alpha 6700. It's a great primary mirrorless camera for all of our production needs. So each and every requirement that we got from the dev team, primarily for the website shoots, this camera is capable enough to do all of that, has a great sensor. And on top of that, for the secondary camera, we'd be going with ZV-E10, primarily because it's very easy to use. All the vertical content that would be used for social media and all similar ads purposes would be driven through ZV-E10. On top of all of this, we also invest slightly more on lighting. We know that a good camera with bad lighting produces sort of like bad result only. A great lighting setup with an average camera can drive you good results. Apart from all of that, we also invest in a lot of portable lights. It's a bonus point if it's RGB. But yeah, having a good set of secondary portable lights allows you to create good frames, especially in lifestyle shoots
So that's in essence how we proceed for a very lean production setup.
on a very tight budget.
Another important piece of the puzzle is set design. And set design isn't just about looking good, it's about building something scalable that works across different touch points. Since one of the main use cases is product photography, so we need to make sure that we balance out aesthetics with utility.
Because the shoot will be used both across social media as well as our website. So white would be the simplest and the cleanest option that we go to. And of course, it's the most scalable choice. It would make sure that our products become the hero of the actual shoot rather than the set design overpowering the actual clothes that we have.
Right, and again from a UX standpoint as well, white integrates nicely with e-commerce websites.
And when we're talking about white, we don't want the shoot to feel boring, right? Because brand personality has been a key in Sharmeeli, and we still want to integrate the brand personality in the photo shoot, but it would be very subtly done with the models that we use. And for that, we are also letting our creative lead in the project, Gurbani, become part of the first shoot, because the emotion and the poses that we show, they need to be Sharmeeli first.
And apart from that, we'll also be using a lot of branded elements to make sure the brand storytelling feels right. So in order to show the floral aspect of the brand, we can use some flowers. And our packaging itself, because it looks so good, so that would also play an important role in the shoot.
And these small details will turn this into a complete branded experience overall.
We want to build something scalable. So this is not something that we are just doing for today's shoot. We want to build a scalable system that we can repeat over the course of months to follow.
While the production planning moves into full swing with shortlist, schedules, and setups being finalized, another layer of the brand is quietly being shaped. Shankuk begins working in parallel on structuring the content strategy for Sharmeeli, because even before the cameras roll, it's important to know what this content is meant to do, where it will live, and how it will shape the brand's voice online.
So whenever it comes to creating content for a brand, I like to start off the process by defining what we are and what we are not. What I mean by that is, for example, in the case of Sharmeeli, I start by defining what we are. We are Desi and Chic at the same time. We're restricted by gender and age. We're almost a designer brand, and we're social media first. And what we are not, may aa jata hai that we're not bland, right? We cannot be a bland. We're not a SaaS company. We are not a huge MNC, so we have limited budgets. So there's financial constraint as well. And at the same time, we cannot be memey as well, right? We cannot adapt the content strategy of Swiggy or Zomato's of the world, right? Based on what we are and what we are not, the guide rails that we have defined for Sharmeeli are that it should be financially viable. It should be cyclic, because social media in general is a long-term activity and should be treated like one. We have to also show the oxymoron, the juxtaposition of the brand Sharmeeli, and there has to be some sort of viral element to it. We believe our idea of MTV style edits might be the answer here. Based on these guide rails, we get to doing competition research, and one brand that stood out for us and even for the clients was Moschino. The clients really loved it. Yogesh and Rahul really loved it. I could see a potential possibility of coupling that with the MTV style edits me and Malhar are thinking about. Once the competition research is done, based on that, I get straight to defining the content funnel for the brand. So content funnel is basically divided into three major categories: tofu, bofu, and mofu, which is basically top, middle, and bottom of the funnel. So top of the funnel aims to create awareness. Middle of the funnel is generally to keep the engaged audience consumed with your content on a cyclic basis. And bottom of the funnel is whatever that you're trying to sell. In our case, that would be our clothes, right? Once the competition research is done, once the funnel has been created, I do the small activity to bring every big stakeholder on the same page that not all content piece is driven for engagement, right? So for example, X would be a content piece that would drive sales, Y would be a content piece that would drive consideration, and Z would be a content piece that would drive virality. So based on this, the team also has a good idea of what to expect when a content post goes out. This last step is so that we are all on the same page about the content strategy and the content we'll be producing. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
With the set ready and the shoot manual laid out, the planning phase quietly wraps. What began as mood boards and references is now a clear roadmap, every frame accounted for, every intention mapped to an output. From the homepage to handheld reels, each shot has a role to play in shaping how Sharmeeli meets the world. And with the foundation in place, it's time for the team to pick up the cameras and start shooting.
This has been one of the most demanding shoots that we have ever done, and we have reached a conclusion. I'm so proud of what the team has achieved. These last couple of weeks with the shoot planning and the post-production, the process has been super long. Yeah, it's been painful, but I think the end result, yeah, I'm just too happy about it.
So we figured out the lighting, where do we place the key lights, the background lights. So from that perspective, we figured a lot of things out.
The initial shoots are the ones where all the systems are tested. We especially made sure that we take clients' inputs side by side, not just for approvals, but also because they feel more involved with the shoots.
And we've gone full desi with this shoot, right? So we've tried to optimize the budget so much that we're using Gurbani, our creative director, as one of the models. And since Gurbani understands and knows the brand so well, she is easily able to embody the core essence of the Sharmeeli brand.
And we really embodied the Delhi-ness during the shoot. We intentionally tried to cover autos, which is a staple in North India and especially in Delhi. Along with that, we did shoots with Bullet. The chai tapri is a very important concept throughout India, but especially in Delhi. The warehouse and the location was in Hoska, so we tried to cover those places which were easily accessible. It was a game changer for us because she set the tone for all the other models. Otherwise, it was a difficult brief for someone to embody the character of a Sharmeeli girl. I cannot stress the fact of having a file management system. These seem like technical details, but they are like game changers when you want to build systems for future teams to follow. Because again, I know our A players will not be on this shoot forever. So it needs to be a system that is repeated by the future teams who take this project up and do it on a cyclic basis. So that was a very important factor for us.
Shoot was crazy. So we had done a bit of shoots Amalta's ke saath, but those were very, very conventional since that is a very bridal scenario. However, in the case of Sharmeeli, it was very different. The whole vibe when we were shooting was very, very different.
I think everybody was just so full of energy and lots of ideas. What the best part about these guys was everything that they came with was original. Honestly, what we always reference to was हमने ये देखा, this is what we liked, वो brand देखा, this is what we liked.
It aligned totally with what we were thinking as to how Sharmeeli would look on the net, and we could capture the entire vibe like that.
I think it just came out so well. It was honestly unexpected. I mean, if you come and see the setup that we actually gave them finally, even in this kind of space, they were able to give such an amazing output. As soon as they started posting on social media, I think that that originality was visible.
I mean, who would have thought कि you put ethnic wear on women and put सीधे मौत का rap music over it? It was crazy. Very catchy, very edgy. It was like an oxymoron as to how the clothes were actually representing, right? So very, very beautiful.
It was just so catchy. I mean, it was just so different and so amazing.
A very conventional, traditional music is what we are mostly accustomed to. कि इन कपड़ों के साथ वैसा दिखता है. But when this came out with rap music and all, and the whole model's vibing with the whole rap songs, and the clothes are very contemporary Indian, pretty nice.
With the first shoot wrapped, Sharmeeli is no longer just a mood board. It's now a living and breathing brand. The systems we've put in place, from shortlist to set designs, they are the foundation for how this brand will produce content at scale again and again. In the next episode, we shift from cameras to clicks, diving into persona mapping, user journey, and the digital architecture that will shape how customers discover and experience Sharmeeli for the very first time. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. This is Building an Indian D2C Brand.